guys, welcome back to Pretty Pains. Today I have a very special guest in the building with me. She knows everything about hair care. It is the co-founder and CEO of the Doux, the hair care brand that has been taking the world by storm. And she's here to have a good conversation with us. Hi
Thank you for
Maya,
having me.
welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. I love London, so I'm having a blast here.
When did you say you flew in from London?
We came in yesterday, so I'm
Nice.
still a little jet lagged, but I don't want to miss one moment
Oh my god.
of being here. I love it.
Well, Maya, of course, we want to talk all about the do. But first, we want to talk about a little bit about your journey to creating the do. So tell me a little bit about yourself. So how did it come about so that, we're here?
Yeah, so I am a licensed cosmetologist by trade. I've been doing this since I was in high school.
Yeah.
I started my career really before I was old enough to work. I was like 10, sweeping up hair and answering the phone. And it was that experience that really brought me into like loving the transformation that I saw people having when they were in the salon.
Yeah.
And really digging into that mentorship that I got from the stylists that were there. I was kind of the shop baby, right?
Yeah.
So taking that and deciding while I was in high school to become a cosmetologist, I didn't intend on doing it as a career for life. I just ended up being a lot better at it than I thought I would be.
Yeah.
And then the places that I was moving to, the cities that I found myself in from that journey, there was just a need for representation, for a stylist in all of those outlets.
Yeah.
And I started to see that there was just this void of support for people with textured hair care, specifically Black women.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of places that we could go to have our beauty affirmed. There weren't a lot of places that we could go to get real good education from a stylist.
Yeah.
And then that sense of community in the salon was really missing. And so when I was going from city to city, living in military communities, just in my journey as a cosmetologist, I was like, I want to be that place that people go to get that comfort, to get that sense of home, and to get the education that they need for their hair. Because great products are fine,
Yeah.
but if you don't know how to implement those products, and if you don't understand the why, if you don't understand what your hair is trying to tell you,
Yeah.
then you can have a bunch of awesome products and still really be lost and feel like your hair isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And I started to see that a lot in my practice. And so when we started and launched the Do, a lot of what I've created for the brand has been about helping people understand their hair more,
Yeah.
and also feeling that sense of community and that fellowship that you feel in the salon.
Yeah, definitely. So, what was your relationship like as a child with hair? Because I know I sort of suffered with, like, loving my hair, and then I had a relaxer for so many years, and then, finally transitioned to natural, and then figuring out how to love it again. It's just, it's all so much. So, what was your relationship like growing up with your hair?
It's funny. I think I'm aware that everybody has just a different relationship with their hair. Um, what the messages that were sent to me were really from my mom and my grandmother and my aunties.
Yeah.
And for me, I wasn't necessarily afraid of my hair. I always was brought up to see it as something that needed a lot of care.
Okay.
Taking care of my hair was it was a priority because of the way that I knew. My mom, I think, knew the feelings that I had about the way that I showed up in the world,
Yeah.
were important to her.
Yeah.
So I think I got a lot of positive affirmations. I got a lot of representation being in the salon.
Yeah.
I'm so young. I didn't have the fear of my hair that I saw a lot. I've seen a lot of my clients have like a real fear.
Yeah.
A lot of the decisions that we make as a culture are based on trauma
Yeah.
from our younger years. I didn't necessarily experience that because I was already immersed in that salon environment. Like I knew my hair would be okay,
Yeah.
but I did grow a lot of compassion, a sense of deep, this feeling of wanting to take care of people that I knew didn't necessarily love their hair and weren't seeing themselves in movies and media and magazines. So I wanted people to have that same sense of comfort that I got as a kid.
Yeah.
And so that has a lot to do with why I do what I do behind the chair.
Yeah. So before we actually dive into creating the do, I think sometimes in the black community with hair salons, we struggle with sort of the service element. So
Oh my gosh.
it's such a big thing, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you book to go get your hair done, and then your stylist is doing someone else's hair when you get
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So like, how's like, what do you think is like the future? Like, how can we move forward with that? How should we be sort of servicing our clients in a much better way?
I think some of what we're seeing is cultural,
Yeah,
because stylists are not being brought up in the salon. Everybody's kind of transitioning to these suites. So where you grow up in a very educational, collaborative environment, and then move your practice into something more private, most of the people that are starting in this hair care business are going straight to the suites.
yeah,
So there's a lack of accountability. There aren't, the aunties and the older
yeah,
stylists, the more experienced senior stylists
yeah,
holding you accountable to a standard.
yeah,
Chewing you out in the break room when you're late or your
yeah,
client is late. There's that lack of support and community is why I think the stylist community is kind of falling off
yeah,
in when it comes to service. I think the way that we can remedy that is to start building more collaborative salons. I know
yeah,
everyone loves the suites, but I think that coming up as a young stylist or as a new stylist into
mm,
the industry, you really do need like the support and the oversight of other stylists that are senior to you to really
yeah,
help you navigate how to do a proper consultation,
yeah,
how to listen to your client, how to
yeah,
show up on time, how to build systems in your business that keep you on track. Like
yeah.
all of the being late, having bad customer service, all of
Mhm.
those things can be remedied these
For
days,
sure.
especially with the technology. We have online booking.
Yeah.
You can hire an assistant. You can hire a virtual assistant
Yeah,
to
that's so
talk to your
true.
clients. So at this point, we're at a place where in this industry, there's no excuse
Yeah.
to have a poor experience
Yeah.
for salon clients because there's so much technology on our side.
Yeah.
So I think some of it is just growing up a little bit
Yeah.
and reaching out to older stylists.
Yeah.
That sense of accountability.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is also leveraging what we have available to us in tech and even AI to
Yeah.
help us be better equipped to service more clients.
No, I 100% agree. 100% agree. So well, I want to move on to the Doux, obviously. So
Yay.
you created this incredible haircut. By the way, I've got it in my hair today.
Your
I
hair
didn't
looks
wash and
awesome.
go
Yeah,
just for you. I was
it's
like, there's no way
beautiful.
I'm meeting Maya with like day 4 hair. No, it's gonna be fresh
I
wash and
love
go
it. It
this
looks
morning.
gorgeous.
Thank you. So tell me all about it. So at what point in your career did you think, you know what? I've been servicing my clients. I've been in the hair industry. Now it's time to actually put products out on the market.
It's funny. I was not intending at the beginning to be a product developer or
Yeah.
create my own products. I wanted more salons. I
Yeah.
was really obsessed with what we just talked about, just having a stellar, superior experience in the salon for Black women was
Yeah.
my focus. And I just wanted to create more of that. What I got into manufacturing was because my clients didn't want to use the products that I was selling on the shelf. They wanted to use what I was using. And at the time, there was the natural products over here and the products for relaxed and straight styles over
Yeah.
here. But there was nothing that was more water based that was light enough for someone like you who could do a blowout and wear a wash and go.
Yeah.
There was no products that could be used for the same person
Yeah.
depending on how she wanted to show up in the world.
Okay. Yeah.
So I started to develop it just because I had worked with a huge military community that needed faster solutions.
Mm.
I wanted to create products that you could use just one product instead of like, a oil, a cream, a butter, a
Yeah.
gel. Like I wanted to create more water-based products that
Mm.
dried fast enough because my clientele didn't have the time. They
Yeah.
didn't have 2-3 hours to
That's
do
true.
a twist out or a wash and go. They needed their hair to dry faster. And I wanted to create products that would give my clients the confidence
Mm.
to see what I did in the salon and go home and do the exact
Replicate it.
thing.
Yeah.
I said, if I can just create something that would make it easier for me to educate you in the salon,
Yeah.
show you with one product how to do this wash and go, how to do this
Yeah.
twist out, how to do this blowout, then it's not just about you getting home and purchasing the products and getting home and doing it. It's also about the way that you feel about yourself when
100%.
it's just you in the mirror, because I really
100%.
do believe that like 80% of our hair care experience is about how we feel.
Inside. For sure.
And that sense of confidence,
Yeah.
especially for Black women, is essential
Yeah.
to you being successful. Even when you do hair,
Yeah.
just how you feel about, are you successful? Like, that feeling when you're doing your hair and you're like, how do I know that I'm finished?
Yeah,
It's like I
exactly.
did all the steps, but like, is this the finished
Is this the
look?
finished look? Yeah.
That sense of confidence,
Yeah.
it's something that you carry with you for the rest of the day,
Yeah.
And I think the magic of the salon environment, what I love the most about my job is the way that somebody can walk into the salon and
And
be
just
hunched
leave with
over
like their
like
shoulders.
this,
Yeah.
and it's a completely different woman that
Yeah.
leaves. And that's such a part of what I think is the beauty of servicing Black women.
Yeah.
And it's really been my ministry. So that's a long answer, but that's why I created the Doux.
Yeah.
It was really kind of chasing that feeling,
Yeah.
and feeling a real conviction to empower you.
Yeah.
Right, I want you to feel strong and not afraid of your hair or
Yeah.
ashamed of your hair.
No, 100%, 100%. And so it's just, what is the process like? So you have this idea to create
Mhm.
and do to make the Black women feel confident, to feel great within themselves. What is the process to getting that first product out of
Child. So the process improves as you do it over and over again.
Okay,
So at
okay.
first, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. I had no
Yeah.
interest in this world,
Yeah.
right? But what started to happen is, as I was doing the research and I started to see how other brands were forming products, I found that they were all kind of created by marketing engines, like companies that, wanted to build a marketing story around an ingredient or tell a story about a consumer that they really didn't know.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had an advantage as a stylist because I actually know these people.
Yeah, exactly.
I am her. I'm able to listen to what she really, really wants.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to create the Doux differently than Black hair care brands were traditionally created.
Yeah.
I wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to use the clients that were sitting in my chair as the focus group. I wanted to listen to every single pain point that they had. I wanted to know what they cared about, what they cried about, what products were working, what products on the market weren't working.
Yeah.
So I worked my product development process is really consistent in that way,
Yeah.
where I'm listening directly to the people who actually use it. Who cares what I think?
Yeah.
Even I know a lot about hair, but does any of that matter if when you get home
Yeah.
and it's just you and your
you don't
wet
know
hair,
how to. Yeah.
you need to be able to recreate those looks. So the process for me is the same even now. I test every single product. There's
Yeah.
nothing on that shelf that I personally have not used, not just on my hair, but on your hair,
Yeah.
on every hair type. And I start with the kinkiest texture and work my way to the looser texture,
Yeah.
so that no one gets missed in the process.
Yeah.
And I work with a team of chemists, obviously, to help me formulate the scientific part of it.
Of course.
But I do consider myself a formulator. I'm the
Yeah.
one who informs all of the decisions, the ratios, what they put in the products, what they don't put in the products. And it's my input and my client's input. More
Yeah.
important, forget me, my client's input, how
Yeah.
they feel about what I'm creating. It's their input that really informs the decisions that the chemists are making on the scientific side.
Yeah.
So chemists are really good with the numbers and the academic or the
Yeah.
scientific part of formulating, but they don't necessarily have the applied knowledge or the applied experience. They haven't had their hands in hair. So
Yeah.
what may make sense on paper on a formula or something that you read in a book doesn't necessarily directly transfer when you're
Exactly.
in a real live salon situation.
Yeah.
So the Doux is really about taking what I know from behind the chair for, all these years,
Yeah.
what I've learned with my hands, what I hear from my clients, what
Yeah.
I see from my clients, and what I've been informed by the chemist.
Yeah. So you know exactly going into it. Okay, I want this ingredient, this ingredient, this ingredient. Everything is very.
And sometimes I don't. Sometimes
Yeah.
I don't know everything, but I know what I'm good at.
Yeah.
What I'm good at is performance. What I'm good at is results. What I'm good at is this library of products that I've used
Yeah.
over these 30 years. How do we improve that?
Yeah.
So I do ask a lot. I do a lot of research on my own. What are new ingredients? What are trending ingredients? But
Yeah.
to me, it's the formula as a whole
Yeah.
and how your hair behaves in the presence of that formula.
Yeah.
That's more important to me than just saying, oh, well, we'll just throw some sea moss in here, we'll throw some
Yeah.
olive oil in here. That's really great to know,
Yeah.
but how does that directly affect your experience in those quiet moments when it's
Yeah.
just you in your bathroom?
No, exactly.
So the Doux is much more about performance.
Yeah.
I'm a lot less distracted by, trying to impress you with all these wonderful botanicals,
Yeah.
because the truth is, in this business, a lot of times what is on the label doesn't actually have a
Yeah.
real effect. So
That's
what we
true.
try to do is make sure that we're authentic, even in the way that we label our products.
Yeah.
That's why on the back you'll see what's good.
Yeah.
Anything that you see back there actually does play an active part in the
Yeah.
in the overall result of what you're getting.
Yeah.
Instead of just calling out a bunch of stuff to sell it to you, I want you to really get the true benefit of the whole formula,
Yeah.
not just that one marketing ingredient.
That's amazing. I think what I love most about the Dew is that when I use the products, my hair doesn't feel stripped. It actually feels nourished. And honestly, I'm so big on that because I've used so many products over the years. And sometimes, like, you wash your hair out and it's like, God, my hair feels so dry. It feels crispy. It feels crunchy. Like, what's going on?
I like a little crisp and a little crunch
Really?
myself. I
No,
do.
I like soft toe. I'm a soft toe girl. So, but I love it because then when I wash my hair still feels rejuvenated. It doesn't feel like stripped. Sometimes you use a lot of products that may have alcohol, whatever it may be, and your hair just doesn't feel the same. But I feel like the Dew has like products that enhances.
You have
your
no
hair.
idea how excited I am to
Oh,
hear
really?
that. It makes me so happy. And I'm going to tell you why, because that actually, it kind of reaffirms my process.
Yeah.
Because the final step in my testing process is the rinse.
Yeah.
I don't stop at how well a gel performs or how well our mousse performs. The final benchmark when I'm actually doing my product development is how the hair is improved once you rinse it.
Yeah.
If the structure and the condition of the hair isn't improved after we use this styler, it's not a good styler.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for not just like the immediate result in the style part, but the because consistent hair care
Yeah.
with high quality ingredients should start to improve
100%.
the texture of your hair. You'll start to feel and see those results,
Yeah.
and that's the final step. I'm always watching to see, like, I'll call my clients and say, okay, so when you wash, I know you liked it, but when you washed it out, was
How
your
did it
hair
feel?
dry? Did it feel
Exactly.
stripped? Did it feel more elastic? All
Yeah.
of those things can be built into formulas and stylers.
Yeah. No, 100%. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for creating that because I'm so happy. I'm just like, woo. Do you want to film my hair?
Can I?
Yeah,
I wanted
of
to, but I
course.
was like, that's a forbidden. It feels amazing. What did you use?
Just to do. Girl, I used the
The Mousse Def. Yeah,
That's my favorite.
that's my
honestly.
baby. Mousse Def is my baby.
Yeah, it's just so good. And sometimes like I applied the mousse before
Mhm.
the gel, but today I just used
Just
the
play
gel.
with it.
I just
I
used
think
the gel.
everybody kind of figures out their little routine and their mix, and I'm not mad at it. So
Yeah. No,
play with it. Yeah.
It's so good. Well, the Doux is actually launching. Well, it has launched in the UK, right?
It has. We're in Boots.
Yes, I saw it.
In a minute, we'll be in Superdrug.
Wow,
Yes.
stop.
So I'm hype
excited.
about that because it's important to me to be where you are. To be accessible is really important because we've always seen, products come to market, and if they're really good, they're hard to find, or they're very exclusive or not accessible or too expensive.
Yeah.
And I started this brand really believing that we deserve salon quality hair products. So you'll find like some of our stuff is really concentrated, but that's really, what we use in the salon.
Yeah.
So I figured out a way to make it make sense, to make the cost make sense,
Yeah.
to make something that really is top tier, superior, something that stylists use, that I've used as a stylist for years, but that you could just go to your Boots, to your Superdrug and pick up, and you're getting that same level of care that you would get if you were in the chair.
And I love that because I think sometimes when you find a product that you love and the only place you can get it is the black hair salon
Right.
or the black hair store, it's just like, okay,
Right.
I want to be able to just run to Boots across the road and pick that up. So I just love the fact that it's so convenient and it's so easily accessible to anybody.
Yeah.
I can be at an airport and be like, okay, I'm picking up the
Right.
Doux from the
Yeah.
Boots.
And as a stylist, we can be real bougie about what we recommend to our clients
Yeah.
because usually when you're in a salon, your set of products are salon exclusive.
Yeah.
But because I worked in a military community, you could literally be in my chair today and be off to move to another state or another country. So
That's true.
what happens? I would have clients call me and they're like, hey, I'm in Toledo, Ohio, and I can't get what you were using in the salon. What should I use? And I would
Yeah.
have to say, well, what do you have in, in your Target or your
Yeah.
Walmart or whatever? So it was important to me that my stylist community that's actually using the products, and we have a huge, what we call Doux Gang Pro. They're using our products in the salon,
Yeah.
but they're not as afraid to recommend, something that is really accessible to their clients. If they
Yeah.
can't get back to the salon and buy more Mustef,
Yeah.
I can say, hey, you can run to your Boots or to your Superdrug.
Exactly.
And that's something I'm really proud of, because accessibility is something that's always been missing when it comes to quality.
Yeah.
Either things cost too much or you can't find them.
Yeah.
And so being everywhere you are is like our top priority right now.
No, that's amazing. Do you ever like look back from like where you started and think, okay, well, first of all, I had no plans on even launching a hair care brand, and now we're in Boots in the UK, we're in Superdrug in the UK. But what's that process like?
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
But I encourage anyone who is like on what feels like an entrepreneurial journey, or following a dream that they have, to think about when you started every single day. Think about when you started every single day, because the moment you start to think that it's about you, or that you deserve it, or that it's working out because you're better,
Yeah.
you lose sight of the fact that you should be serving someone.
Yeah.
So that's what keeps me grounded. That's what keeps me going, is
Yeah.
my awareness that it wasn't always like this. It's not easy now.
Yeah.
But it was a struggle
Yeah.
when we started. I had 5 babies.
Yeah.
My husband was working on a military salary. I was trying to, build this salon, and we had a lot less to work with. Like, we were just saving our money in a shoebox. So, every day I'm just grateful. I thank God every day that, he's enlarged my territory, that he's given me more to work with. But I think a lot of that is about your awareness and being grateful, and seeing what you're doing is bigger than you, and deciding every day to continue on that mission, deciding every day to stick with that assignment, and knowing that it's not just about you, and not just about what you're trying to do, but what God is trying to do through you. That's really what I stick to, and in some way it served not just me, but I'm hoping that it served all of you who love to do.
100%.
So thank you.
But how do you balance it all? So you have 5 amazing kids, and then you have your husband. How do you balance business and family and what? Like,
You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
Okay.
I don't believe in balance. I think what I've learned as a mom of 5 and a wife and business owner and blah blah blah, I've learned that you have to just align proper priorities.
Okay.
You have to decide what is the most important thing, and everything else gets in line. I think trying to do both at the same time, you can have it all, but you may or may not have it all at the same time.
Yeah. So something's always going to be. Yeah.
And so for us, it is family first.
Yeah.
It's God first.
Yeah.
And I really do believe when that's the focus, all of the other things find their place. And I know I say this a lot, but understanding the mission that you are on an assignment, you are literally involved in a ministry because you're caring for other people. What you're doing is for the benefit of other people. When that is your central focus, all of the other stuff really, really does just start to fall into place. It's not magic, but it is like, I think the principle of focus is something, really important. Brian's late father, my husband, really taught us a lot. My kids are always, grandpa would always say focus. That principle of focus, of really understanding that it's bigger than you, is what keeps everything in order. So it's not as much about balance, it's more about order.
Okay. That's good. I think that's really good business advice for anyone who is trying to, enter.
It's
the
tough
world
though.
Of
it's tough because it don't sound right. It's not the businessy thing to say,
exactly.
right? But it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah. Okay, so what I want to know, do you have any secrets that you can share with us? So what's next for the Doux? Is there any secrets you can?
Nothing secret.
Okay.
I try. First of all, I can't hold a secret. Like, I be dropping products months before I'm supposed to even talk about it. I got like 3 right now that I can't wait to share with the world. But really, I think the next phase of the Doux for me is returning back to how I started, and that's
Okay.
really leaning into the professional community.
Okay.
We built this business kind of backwards. A lot of businesses get started like they start in beauty supply and then they go to mass retail or drug,
Yeah.
and then they kind of start to pander out to the stylists.
Yeah.
I started in salon,
Yeah.
and it was my professional community. It was other stylists really that put the Doux on the map. It was
Yeah.
the stylists. Why you know about Mustef was a stylist. They really supported the brand, and it created enough traction and popularity for us to even be invited
Yeah.
into these retail outlets.
Yeah.
So we were afraid for a long time to really do a lot of stylist education or build a bigger stylist community, because as a stylist, I knew that they were going to really need some more support. When you're a stylist, you want the brand to do a lot of education. You want to, and I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
So now that we've grown and we have like more bandwidth, I
Yeah.
think the next step for the Doux is returning back to my foundation, which is the stylist community. To your point earlier, it's really important to me to start to help nurture the new generation of stylists,
Yeah.
because I think that if we start to lose that level of professionalism,
Yeah.
if people don't want to return to the salons, we are going to lose a little bit of our culture.
Yeah.
A little bit.
100%.
Every year, we're going to start to diminish that feeling of community and fellowship that is essential to
Yeah.
Black hair care. Get smaller and smaller when we stop trusting each other.
Yeah.
So part of that, like I said, is building that rite of passage, helping to build that bridge between the old school stylists and our new generation.
Yeah.
It's all on Instagram and in
Yeah.
these streets. Building that bridge and creating that sense of community and mentorship
Yeah.
is it's good for everybody. It's good for you when you go to Boots and Superdrug because the
Exactly.
products that you're making
Yeah.
are better. I mean, that you're using are better because we're making better products.
Yeah.
And it's also good just for the culture to return to community.
Yeah.
So that's really a big part. I also think that I want to see more stylists creating products. I think that Black hair care stylists,
Yeah.
if Black people are using products for Black hair, then the stylist community needs to be leading that conversation. There need to be more brands like the Doux that are actually created by professional stylists,
Yeah.
and less by marketers or engines or incubators. I want to see more people that look like me and have had my experience making products for the people that I'm serving. So I think now I'm trying to shape a little bit of culture,
Yeah.
trying to change the way that things are done and seen, and that's the next step for the Doux.
Oh, amazing. So, can we look forward to the Doux hair salon in the UK?
Listen, pray for me.
Oh
Okay?
my God, I'm gonna pray for
for
you.
me. I would love to.
Yeah.
I love being the CEO of this brand.
Yeah.
I love everything that we've been able to create. I love that you showed up here with your hair, like with my product in it. Like, it's a tremendous honor. But where I feel the most home, like my happy place, my element, is still always going to be the salon. I feel like I was literally born there.
Yeah.
And it's so important. It's such a part of my DNA and like the root of who I am, even as a creative. So
Yeah.
I would love to have more salons. My first salon was in Europe. So, you never know. It wouldn't surprise me at all if I ended up back across the pond.
Amazing.
So, let me know.
I
Let me
love
know.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to. I would love to.
No, that would be amazing. Well, thank you so much, Maya, for having this conversation with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.